My name is David Kennett. My workshop is in South London, and the workshop is based in my garden, the end of my garden. I operate under the name Flame Guitars. It's around about 1983, 1984. I saw a guitar making class advertised at the local college. I was playing guitar, not very well, but I was playing guitar, and I thought I want to have a go at that. I had no background in woodworking whatsoever, apart from maybe a term of woodworking at school. So I didn't know how to sharpen a chisel, how to use a plane, use any of the tools that I was going to be using for making guitar, but I thought, well, I'll have a go at that. So I started that. It was just one evening a week at the local college. And I went on to make my first very average to poor classical guitar, Spanish guitar. But the whole process of making guitar just captivated me. And I just knew I wanted to go on and make other guitars. And I often describe it as like something crawled inside me and has never been able to get out since. And so I just went on and made a number of steel string guitars and then moved on to electric guitars. I think you need a certain amount of playing skill to actually appreciate when you've got that right. You probably can learn it, but I think it probably is important, at least my understanding is it's important for me to be able to have a certain level of competence to actually turn out a really well playing guitar, because ultimately it's not about an instrument that people put on the wall and look at. It's about the playing experience, and the joy comes from playing a guitar that's really well made but plays as well as any guitar can play. Some people absolutely love a particular brand of guitar and it just leaves me cold. I just don't get it at all. Although I can understand the sort of reasons why someone might desire a particular brand of guitar, and I'm not going to name any particular brands. For me, it's about a guitar that looks great. It's a beautiful thing to look at, that sounds great when you play it, but also plays really well. So that's what I'm trying to think about, those three aspects. What guitars have is a very personal connection with the owner of that guitar, and I understand entirely where people talk about their guitar as if it does have a personality, because people can become intimately connected with this thing they're holding and playing. And I meet so many musicians who absolutely just love their guitar in a way that it's hard to love your computer or something else you use for a creative process. There's something very tactile about this instrument which allows you to learn, to play, to be creative, and in the hands of a gifted musician, that guitar sort of comes to life. So originally I was a firefighter. I joined the London Fire Brigade in 1978. That's part of the origin of the name Flame Guitars. It's partly a nod to 30 plus years working in the London Fire Brigade. But it's also, for me, when I was thinking about flame guitars and thinking about my life around sort of fire and flame, a flame needs oxygen, it needs heat, it needs fuel to live and grow and breathe. And in some way music is a bit like that. As I say, guitar is in its essence no more than wood and metal, but in the hands of someone who can breathe energy and life into it, it almost like music can then grow and decay a bit like a flame or a fire can. So maybe that sounds a bit pompous, but it works in my head. Very few people ask me why flame guitars, but that's the sort of story behind it. Hi Fabio, nice to you. Come in. Being on the outskirts of London, you meet people from all around the world who are living and working in London. And people walk into my workshop, they're interested in what I'm doing. They've already decided that they want to use me for whatever on their guitar. But guitars gives us that instant connection. So I very rarely have to work hard with the person who walks through the door. It's just easy conversations, and love of guitars is that sort of starting point. I definitely enjoy all the people I meet and many returning customers who you get to know sort of just beyond guitars and start talking about life and the family and all sorts of stuff. Doing what I'm doing, I think people expect that I will be intimately knowledgeable about pretty much every guitar that's ever been made, but I don't. I've probably seen over the years most of the common guitars have passed through my workshop, and then that's the interesting challenge. Is someone brings you something a bit different, or is asking you to do something that's slightly different with their guitar. I really enjoy that process, particularly if a guitar is old and not playing well, and this guitar can play it so much better, and therefore sound so much better, and importantly, the player gets a joy out of that. It's buzzing, and then just relax it to that point where... I had a customer come and collect a guitar a few weeks back. This was an old Guild guitar that I worked on, and he was so excited about getting his guitar back and how it now sounded and how it now played. He was totally thrilled, probably the most thrilled of any of the customers I've had recently. I don't think I've ever had a day where I thought, gee, I really can't be bothered to get in the workshop today. I love coming here and working on people's guitars and working on the custom builds that I'm doing at any one time. So no, there's never a problem getting up in the morning.